back to another video, guys. Today we got something very, very special. I've been getting a lot of questions lately. And since it's summertime, riding season is here, there's a lot of people trying to get into bikes. And the number one question is, should I start on an 883 or should I just jump on the lowrider S that you have? Or should I just get like a used Dyna? And I never know what to say exactly because everyone's different. Everyone's different heights, different weights, different experience. Hopefully this video today could be super, super helpful. And the reason why Jerry's here, I wasn't gonna do this by myself, but I thought it'd be a good idea to have Jerry on board today just because I want to get his insight on everything due to the fact of his long life of riding and his experience riding bikes. I think that his take will be very important to this video as well. Enjoy the video. Wait, what's up? You're good or?
33 years riding experience.
33 ridings and
60 motorcycles.
And counting.
And counting. Possibly another one coming.
Basically what we're gonna do is that we're gonna go and hop on the 883, hop on the Dyna, and hop on the lowrider S. I thought about maybe adding Jerry's street light into it, but not so, because a lot of people just don't hop into baggers. Some do. But I think we'll just keep it simple. We'll do this, and then if later on we might do a video like that together as well. Drop your thoughts down below. Any questions that you still have, dropping them low. I'm gonna try to answer them to my best ability, the best way that I can. And what we're gonna do is, like I said, we're gonna get on each bike. I'm gonna be commenting while I'm riding each one. So sit back and enjoy the video. Alright guys, so I'm 5'7". I'm gonna show you guys how it look on the 883, and Jerry's like 6'2", 6'3". He's gonna show you how he looks on it as well. So I pretty much flat-footed, very easy. I have a nice slant. Ooh, let me put this into gear. I have a nice slant, nice bent to my knee. A very comfortable position. This bike is a starter bike for the perfect reasons because of this. It's very comfortable, very, very easy to get on, very easy to maneuver. So Jerry, you say you're 6'3"? All right, so Jerry, come sit on the bike.
See, my legs are kind of straight with them. Like, I mean, it's not too bad. Forwards, I don't know if I put forwards or I just put like a crash bar with highway pegs.
Yeah.
Highway pegs, because I'd rather be like this on this bike, more in control, like sportier.
Do you feel scrunched up on here, or?
The seat would have to be changed.
Yeah.
Other than that, I'm okay.
Okay. All right, so on here, I changed the suspension out. We got some legend suspension out here, so the bike does sit up a bit higher than what it should be. So I cannot flat foot this bike. Like I said, I'm 5'7". I'm not on my tippy toes. I'm like the balls. I'm on the balls of my feet, so not too bad. These are still stock bars, so very comfortable position. Feels great.
I am flat foot.
Yeah, you flat footed for sure.
My foot seems a little higher because if you see where my knee is in relation to the tank, I think on that it's a little lower.
Well, the body of that bike is, I mean, everything is higher in that bike.
Yeah. I think if you had the different seat you're gonna get on here, and then you definitely put the
crash bar on it.
Crash bar in the front, then that would be fine.
Okay.
The bars are okay for me, but I can't wait till you put the
risers.
Now
we'll finish it off on the creme de la creme, the lowrider S. This bike is actually sits a bit lower than the Dyna. I'm basically able to flat foot it. Very, very comfortable positions. Obviously I changed out the risers. These are San Jose's 8-inch risers, stock bars. And then the seat position with the Saddleman obviously are pretty good. I'm like upright. I feel great on it. And it's definitely a lighter bike than the Dyna. The Dyna is a top heavy bike. So even for you to maneuver around the garage or anywhere, it's gonna feel extremely heavy. This bike, on the other hand, feels very light. Very, very light. This bike feels like if you're sitting on the Sportster and you're moving that around. That's how light this bike feels, because the center of gravity is just right in the center, like right where it should be.
This is what I'm talking about with the seat.
I mean, the seat pushes you up forward a lot.
Yeah, well, I don't like the flat where I like the curve on mine. All right, so here the pegs are a little lower. So if you look at my knee to the tank, it's a little low. Like it's only an inch, but it makes a big difference.
Yeah.
And then these are great. That's fine. The bars are perfect height. I like the size and everything. The bike is smaller frame, lighter. You said the Dyna is top heavy, but the Sportster is very top heavy too. That's why for some women, you're better off going the Lowrider S or a Slim.
A Slim, yeah.
Because it's a smaller frame, lighter. Those two bikes are top heavy.
I feel like all softails, like the way the softail,
The new softail.
they're very rigid and they feel great.
The new softail's smaller, like my Night Train is bigger.
Yeah, exactly. All right, guys. So, like I said, I'm gonna hop on the Iron 883. This is a 2019, by the way, and the Dyna is a 2014. 2015. I always forget that. Jerry always has to correct me. 2015. And the Lowrider S is a 2020. My babies feel so blessed. All right, Jerry, let's do this. Little stocking sauce. That TBR, baby. All right, so I had a little issue with the audio of yesterday's recording, so I'm gonna have to redo the whole writing portion of the video. I still have the end part, which is still good for the closing with Jerry, where we both put our input, so wait for that towards the end of the video. So here we have the 2019 Iron 883. This bike has right under or about 50 foot-pounds of torque. It weighs like 560 pounds, so for it to be a small bike, starter bike, it is a bit heavy, but at the end of the day, it is a cruiser. Most cruisers are a bit heavy. So let's just throw a leg over her. This is the first time that you guys see me riding this bike. Well, this particular one, because obviously I started on an Iron 883. That's what started everything off of this channel. But the new bike that I have now, you guys haven't seen me on her yet, so first ride on the bike for ya. Okay, so if you are looking in the market, and we're talking about Harleys today, we're not talking about Honda or Kawasaki's or Indians. We're just talking about Harleys today, and we're talking about the particular ones that I have in my garage, because these are a lot of questions that I've been getting is between these three bikes. So if you are new to the riding game, this is part of the bike you're first looking at. All right, guys, so right off the bat, this video is going to be basically just for new riders. So if you are in the market and you are looking to get a new Harley Davidson, you're probably going to be looking at this bike from the get because of the price point. Being the cheapest Harley Davidson you can buy right now. This year we So we get up to 70-ish up there. Lots of power, 70 miles per hour. For city area guys, this, like I was mentioning, this is the perfect bike. If you're going to be going on highway miles, which if you're a new rider, you're probably not going to be doing that many highway miles or long trips from the get. So you'll be fine on this bike. But if long term, if you're trying to keep this bike long term, I'll tell you right now, it's not the bike for you if you're going to be doing those long miles. This bike will easily do 100, yes. But the bike is going to sound, is going to feel like it's giving it its all and it wants to give up. Like it feels like it's going to choke. But will it do it? Yes. And I've seen a lot of people, you know, do cross-country trips on these bikes. And it's basically just to prove a point that you're able to. But is it the most ideal bike for those long miles? No, forget about it. Now, like I said, if you want a bike to hop around town, around city areas, and go bar hopping and here and there, and you know, meet your local friends for your Sunday coffee, then yeah, this bike is perfect for that. And it's fun. It's just, it's a fistful of fun. That's what we said about the A83, man. It's beautiful looks. This bike, I gotta admit, it is a very, very good looking bike. It appeals to a lot of riders, new riders and old riders. It's just a cool looking bike. Now, controls on here are going to be the same exact controls that you're going to see on any other Harley Davidson. This stuff never really changes. Now, your fuel tank. This tank is only 3.5, so it's not the biggest tank. You might get around 147 miles out of this tank, which is, I mean, for what it is really not that bad. But I mean, I'm pretty sure you're going to want a bigger tank. The Dyna, I have a 4.7 gas tank, and on the Lowrider S, that one has a 5-gallon gas tank. So huge difference from those bikes. But I mean, I can see why this bike also has a smaller tank, just because of its look, its size. If you would put a bigger tank on here, just throw off, you know, the lines and make this bike look pretty weird. It does sit really low to the ground. As you can see here, I'm able to flat foot this bike, and I have a slight bend to my knee. I am 5'7", so yeah, very, very comfortable. So if you're around my height, even if you're shorter, you should be really good. Even if you're like 5'4", which most of the time, you know, a lot of girls get these bikes, and yes, you get a lot of people calling it a girl bike, but it's basically Harley Davidson starter bike. So it sits very low to the ground, and that's why so many girls ride these bikes. A lot of women are, you know, on the shorter end, and this bike is shorter. It sits lower. It's lighter, and that's why a lot of women tend to get these bikes. But is it a girl bike? A girl bike? A sports is a girl bike? No, not in any way, shape, or form. This bike with a few upgrades definitely wakes up. Do a stage 2, stage 3. But would I do it? No, I think it would be a waste of money on this bike, to be honest. I wouldn't really put the effort into put in any type of engine work into here. You also have the option of going with the Sportster 1200, which obviously is going to have the 12cc engine. This one 883, hence its name, 883 cc's. But yeah, I really wouldn't waste any money or any time putting any type of engine work into this bike, because by the time you're gonna finish doing that, it's not even gonna come close to, let's say, my Dyna or anything else, and you're probably gonna want another bike. When I had my bike, I had it for just 1 year, and I traded it in for my 2020 Lowrider S. At that point, I felt like my riding skills had evolved. I felt really comfortable, and I knew that I was going to be good on that bike. I didn't have any issues whatsoever. We'll get into more of that when I get on that bike. So, what do we think about this bike? Yes, it's a fun bike, city and a around town bike. Long miles? No. Well, is it a long-term bike? No. You're probably gonna have this bike for a year, maybe 2, maybe 6 months, and you might trade it in after you see that you want more power, more pep out of your bike, after you see that you're gonna be doing more miles. And yeah, that's it. This bike also comes set up for one person. Can you add a pillion seat in the back? Yes. But is your passenger going to be comfortable? No. The suspension on this bike, it's not the best. Kind of sucks. Very, very stiff. And even the seat kind of sucks. You don't want to put more than 200 miles in a day in this bike because your butt will be hurting. It has the Evo engine. The Evo engine is bulletproof, guys. This engine has been around for years and years and years. So let's say if you do keep this bike long term, let's say 10, 15, 20 years, this is not the type of bike you're really gonna have to worry about much. You do your services, you do your oil changes, and that's pretty much it. Nothing really goes wrong with these bikes. Sportsters have a good reputation for good reliability, I'll say that. Now let's head back home. Let's hop on the Dyna and compare how that's different to this bike. All right, so we got my 2015 Dyna lowrider right here. As you can see, a huge difference in size when they're next to each other. We'll throw a leg over her and continue with the video. All right, so if you're looking at this bike, it's probably because you're looking in the used market and you want to be very budget friendly. Obviously, Dynas are not made anymore. They stopped making them in 2017. That was the last year. Great bikes. People are a huge fan of them. Stunt riders love these bikes. Now, if you are a new rider and you're also looking at this bike, it's probably because, like I mentioned before, you want to find something that's going to be very budget friendly. Something that you're not going to be worried about messing up, or nothing's going to be too crazy and fast stock wise, because these bikes, after you put in some work to them, they become little monsters. Stock, you're looking at, right, I think it's like 99 foot-pounds of torque, right under 100. So a big change and a big step up from the A83, which is around 50. This bike also has the 103 twin cam, very good engine. The early models, I don't recommend because they do have a lot of issues. The 96 cubic inch and 88, they have a lot of issues when it comes to certain parts. So the later style models, Dyna models like this from 2014 to 17 are the best ones you can find. Those are going to be a bit much pricier though, because you know, you can find a 96 cubic inch for, you know, anywhere from 6,000, 7,000, 8,000. That might be a little beat up, maybe not. If you're looking at something around $8,000, $9,000, you'll find something, but you'll find a lot for like $6,000, $7,000. You just got to go out there and look. Me, on the other hand, when I was looking for mine, I wanted something that was going to be stock. Woo! Damn, like the sound of a twin cam with a TBR is amazing. Woo! It's obviously a lot more quicker. We got up to 80 right there in a shorter distance. This bike also has a stage 1 as well, so it's going to be a little bit more peppier. These bikes are great, man. Just like the R83, they're pretty reliable, man. Unless you start stunting on them and doing a bunch of crazy shit, then you know, you start getting little issues here and there. But these bikes are really good. Now, things you should know about the Dyna: these bikes do vibrate a lot. Yeah, let me see. Let's put this holder right there. I don't know if you catch it on camera, but this whole thing is just shaking right now. So that classic Harley rumble that people love so much, and that's why people love these Dynas so much. It's because of that feel. You feel that V-twin engine just shaking and dancing in that body, and it's a cool feeling, man. 4.7 gas tank, which is pretty good. Gas consumption I hear is also pretty good. It doesn't go that quick. Once you start doing a stage 2 or stage 3, your gas mileage starts going down drastically. I plan on doing a stage 2 on here later on. Now, just like the Iron 883, just like any other Harley Davidson, this bike is extremely customizable. I've seen people do all types of things to this bike. Woo! Yeah, so they're extremely customizable. Obviously, both my lowriders that have a club style theme going on to them. I'm gonna be changing out my Memphis Shades Road Warrior on my 20 lowrider S soon, so that's gonna be a FXRP type of style. This is gonna be a club style, and then I have other plans for the Iron 883, so everything's gonna be really, really different. But these bikes are really, really, really fun, guys. And I would say if you are a new rider, I would recommend the 883 at first, because you could just move up and trade it in later on. Very simple and easy. You probably won't lose that much money either, because right now there's just a big demand for used bikes. Let me just show you. So like I said, I'm 5'7". I can almost flat foot it, almost. So it's not that bad. If I wear boots, if I wear sneakers, then I'll be like a little higher. But I was gonna say, this bike is also very top heavy, guys. So if you're gonna be like maneuvering this bike around my garage sucks at times, or even at slow speeds, you definitely feel that weight. Kind of feels like a boat at times. Higher speeds, not so much. But when you do get to those really, really high speeds, you get that Dyna wobble, which these bikes are so famous for. I was doing some high speeds 2 days ago, and the bike was literally just wobbling. It's a scary feeling, so you got to know that ahead of time as well. Top heavy at low speeds to maneuver around, and the high speeds you're going to get that Dyna wobble, which scares a lot of people. But if you are in the used market, and if you are a new rider, I definitely recommend this bike. If you have any type of, like, let's say little experience before, like let's say if you do not own a motorcycle, if you haven't owned a motorcycle in the past, but you have been on a few rides here and there, and you feel comfortable, I would say skip over the 883, just hop on a Dyna, find a used one, and just take your time learning everything on it. That's like my advice when it comes to this and that. All right, so we got the 2020 Lowrider S here. Guess I've heard me talk a lot about this bike. Now, the reason we're going to talk about it now is because I do get a lot of new riders asking me, well, should I just skip over the 883? Because I'm looking at that, and just get your bike. I'll answer those questions like this. But you know what? Before that, let's just get into the specs real quick. And pricing and everything about this bike. This bike is going to run you around $18,000 to $20,000 off the bat. It has the 114 Milwaukee 8, which is a beast of an engine with about 100 and, what is it, 114, 18, maybe 120 foot-pounds of torque around that area. So a big drastic change up from the Dyna. This bike is a torque monster, and if you're not careful, it will launch you back. And it is my favorite bike out of the trio. It's a beast. It's amazing. Now, if you are a brand new rider, if you have zero experience, I honestly don't recommend you hopping on this bike right away and making it your first bike. I would start with something smaller. Maybe go with a Dyna first. Get into that, or the 883. Move your way up, right? Now, with that being said, there are some people that, you know, they're new to the game and they'll just hop on this bike, or I've even seen people hop on a bagger from the get, and they do okay. They might drop it here, there, twice, whatever, but it happens, you know. But That's why I say start small, take baby steps, and get into it. You always want to be safe. These toys, these beautiful bikes that we have, yes, they're beautiful and yes, they're fun, but they're extremely dangerous. So being safe on these things is like #1 priority you gotta have. Now, one thing I had to mention about this is that the weight distribution on this bike is perfection. Everything on this bike is like almost perfection. It feels very, very nimble. Even compared to the Dyna, this bike feels so light. Even compared to the Sportster, it feels light. Just because the way the weight distribution on this bike is so down, like down in the middle, down in the center. It also has to do with the new chassis, which is, it feels very rigid. You gotta love it, baby. Yeah, this bike, low speeds feels, it feels like a torque monster. High speeds feels like a torque monster. The power is always there whenever you want it. So I love riding this bike, man. Now, with that being said, if you do have some type of experience where you have been on other bikes here and there in the past, and if you're gonna be a very responsible rider and take your time, then all right, by all means, get it. But like I said before, take your time. Don't come out here trying to be a hooligan, because this bike will literally launch you back. Like I said before, I'm 5'7". This bike, I'm able to flat foot. And I still have a very little slight bent to my knee here. All right, so we're back from the rides. We got on all 3 bikes. As you saw the video, I was able to put my comments in as I was getting on each bike. So really quick, I just want to get your feedback. Just let everybody know how long you've been riding for.
33 years.
33 years.
On the street, legally.
Okay, legally. Okay. So, riding all 3 bikes, starting with the Iron 83, the Dyna, and the Low Rider S. What would you recommend to a new rider? Now, would you recommend, hey, start on this and grow into it? And I want you to throw in a lot of factors, though. #1, pricing, size, mentality, because you also need to be a responsible rider. So you got to think about all that when you're, you know, saying, all right, well, hop into this bike. Out of these 3 right here.
I think now, after all my experience in riding with everybody and all the different bikes and everything, and the bikes, not only the bikes I've owned, the bikes I've been on, I'm going to say buy what you want to ride. If you're in love with a Fat Boy and you're going to get a Fat Boy and that's your end goal, if you can afford it, buy it from the get-go. If you have to put crash protection on it, it might not look good, but hey, once after you ride it and you get experience, take the crash protection off if you don't like the way it looks. But buy the bike you're going to buy. Don't go out and spend $10,000, $12,000 on the Sportster, which in my opinion is not worth more than $5 grand. Used, new, whatever. I don't think the bike's worth more than $5 grand. If I'm going to spend more than that, I'll buy a used.
I think it's worth like $6,500.
And yeah, even at that, I would go buy a used Dyna, or I'd buy a used, you know, Softail or something before I would spend the money on the Sportster.
I think we're getting out of track a lot.
Yeah, but I'm saying
out of these 3 bikes right here, what bike do you recommend to a new rider?
Low Rider S.
So right off the bat, no Sportster, no Dyna, just Low Rider S. Why is that?
The Low Rider S is more balanced. Like I said, that or a Softail Slim. The Slim is lower. The Dyna is nice if you buy a nice clean used one like you did or whatever, but it's top heavy.
Yeah.
And that will cause you to drop the bike, which will cause you to not have confidence.
Now, I told you to take a few things into mind.
Like
what? Like, all right, you're a new rider, responsible. Yeah. So I think being a responsible rider also plays into the type of bike you're going to be on and the type of rider you're going to be.
Yeah, but I think the problem is everybody pushes everybody towards Sportsters. The Sportster is not a beginner's bike. It is not a beginner's bike.
Out of the Harley Davidson bikes?
Well, that's because that's all they offer, but it's not a beginner's bike. No,
it's not a beginner's bike. We're talking about Harley Davidson bikes. Well, we're not talking about Harley Davidson, Indian, Ducati.
Yeah, I understand that.
We're just talking about Harley Davidson.
I still don't think it's a beginner bike. I still think you're better off on a Softail. You know, years ago we said, oh, you start with a Sportster, but no.
I mean, I also have...
Sportsters are not cheap.
I also changed the suspension on there, so it's a bit higher.
Yes, but I'm saying Sportsters are not cheap. I would recommend a used bike over buying a new Sportster just because of the price.
Well, that's why we have the Dyna here, Cherry.
I know.
Because we're giving examples. So
I said I'm giving examples, but the thing is, you know, you just don't like my answer because I'm saying...
No. I said I don't like the answer. You give whatever answer you like. But
in your opinion, you think the Sportster, but I don't think it's a good beginner's bike.
in my opinion, like I said, it depends on the rider. Like you also like going back to what I said, you got to take into account the type of rider mentally who's going to be on the bike.
But,
so hold on, you're not going to take some 18-year-old who's a knucklehead.
I wouldn't even put him on a Sportster.
Hold on. But that's when I answer your question. I'm like, take everything into account.
Yeah, but I still won't put him on a Sportster, even an 18-year-old.
Hold on. I'm not gonna put a young kid who's a knucklehead on the lowrider S. I'm just not, because they're gonna fly off.
Yeah.
So, yes, I would say, well, my opinion, I will start on the Sportster because it's a huge difference when it comes to power. It's lower. It's a little bit top heavy on top, yes, but this is, out of all the Harley Davidson bikes, this is the bike that a lot of people get into the company. They learn how to ride. Me, like from my personal experience, I learned a lot on that bike, just riding it, just because of how small it is.
Yeah, but how many months did you have your Sportster?
I had it for a year.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's what I'm trying to get though. Within that year, I got to learn that bike really good, and it made me into a better rider. So I was able.
But you can do that on a Honda Rebel. You can do that on Indian Scout. You can do that on a lot of different bikes.
We're talking about Harley Davidson.
I understand we're talking about Harley Davidsons, and you're saying, well, this is the only one they offer in the lower price, but that's going to all change with the 1250 custom and the 975.
Oh, let's not get into that. That's something else.
I understand what you're saying about getting somebody into the brand, but I don't recommend this bike. If somebody asked me right now, I'd be like, no. It's not.
So you'll go lowrider S right away.
Up to 3, yeah, or softail slim.
These 3 right here.
This one.
How about if you're on a budget?
If you're on a budget, I'd go used.
Used what?
But not that Dyna, like the regular lowrider. Like not high like that, like a lower.
This is higher because I changed the suspension.
I know, but I'm saying like a regular.
No, but I'm talking about if
a lowrider.
A Dyna.
A twin cam lowrider.
A Dyna.
Yes.
So if you're on a budget.
Twin cam lowrider.
Okay.
You can get great bikes on a budget or whatever. There's no need to spend top dollar, unless you have to finance, and that's the only thing you can finance.
I mean, I wanted, for example, I spoke about that in the video while I was on it. I wanted something that was pristine and stock.
Yes.
But I also mentioned that you're able to find Dynas for 6, 7, 8, 9.
Oh yeah, especially the older ones.
Yeah. They might be beat.
Well, not really. If you buy like a 2002, like an 88 cubic inch, you get them for like $6,000, and they're in pretty good shape.
The 88 and the 96 are like, there's a lot of issues with them.
Yeah, but you could change a lot of that. My bike's all, mine was an 88, now it's a 95, and all that stuff's changed.
Well, we're obviously on 2 different pages.
Yes.
You want people to just hop on this one. I honestly think...
Well, because
I honestly think that this is the bike to start on, and it's very easy from there to just move on and jump on another bike.
That's what Harley wants. They want you to get in the cheaper bike and then trade it in,
of course,
lose a shitload of money, and then move up to the next one.
I mean, you're not really losing a ton of money.
You're losing quite a few $1,000s, and it depends if you put stuff on it.
The money I got back from my bike when I traded in within the year was, what did I lose? $600 if anything?
That's you.
Yeah, but you also need to be a extreme good negotiator.
Yes. But now you can't negotiate crap because now they want top dollar for everything we're over list price.
I mean, they're also offering a lot of good money now for used bikes.
When you bought your first Sportster, they were selling bikes cheap. I got what I get $6,000. I got $6,000 off my Ultra.
They were trying to move a lot of units.
My 2017 Ultra, I got $6,000 off the price.
All right, so I think that's gonna be it, guys. Take this with a grain of salt. Obviously, I have my own opinion. Jerry has his own opinion as well. And it's like I said, you gotta take into account every little aspect. Your budget, your experience, the type of rider you're gonna be, how responsible you're gonna be, and long-term where you wanna end up at. So like Jerry said, yes, you know what? Long-term, if that's the bike you want, that's the bike you want. But think about everything, take everything into account, sit down, work the numbers out, and just make sure that everything makes sense. That's like the best advice that I can give,
Yeah, work the numbers. So don't put yourself in hock for like crazy money for what? Especially if you buy sports and you hate it.
Yeah.
And you wanted a Fat Boy originally or a lowrider S or something.
Yeah.
Then just put yourself out there. I mean, the price is, like you buy a 48 compared to like a Softail Standard, not even $1,000 difference.
Yeah, it's not that much difference.
And I would buy a Softail Standard all day long over a 48.
All right, so it's like 105 degrees
Yes.
in my garage right now, so
think it
yeah,
lost
we're
10
like
pounds.
sweating. So we're gonna cut this right now. Thank you for watching. Drop your thoughts and your comments down below if you like this video and if you like this type of content as well. And if you want to see more stuff like this, go ahead and give this video a big thumbs up and let me know what you thought about this video down below. I'm gonna catch you in the next one. This is Jerry, the coolest white guy I know. Like always, guys, let the force be with you. Ride safe and enjoy the ride, baby.